The Broken Gate of the Dwarves. Long before the shadow of the Third Age spread over Gondor and Rohan, before Barad-dûr blackened the sky, there existed a stronghold lost to memory. Hidden in the roots of the Ephel Duath, the Mountains of Shadow, it was called by those who knew of it Thangrud-Bizar, the Gate of Broken Echoes, a dwarven city forged in secret by the Stone Soul clan. Thangrud-Bizar was no place of song or merriment. It was born of exile. After Durin's folk were scattered from Khazad-dûm's western halls, and the eastern peaks fell silent, those dwarves who refused to wander fled south. There, beneath blackened mountains, where even the birds did not dare perch, they carved a new kingdom, cloaked in secrecy. The dwarves of Thangrud-Bizar were known not by tales, but by their steel. Their forges burned mithril blue, and their hammers never ceased. They wore silence like armor and fury like flame, but the shadow was always watching. As the power of Mordor waxed, word reached the ears of the Dark Lord's captains, rumors of dwarf steel that could resist flame, of weapons untouched by rust, of mithril artifacts that pulsed with hidden light. This could not be left unchecked, and so Sauron summoned Raukshar, a war chief not born but bred in the pits of Gorgoroth, a beast of an orc, twice the height of men, cloaked in chain-mail stitched with troll sinew. His halberd was black as pitch and glowed red at the edges, quenched in the blood of men and strengthened in fire that no elf could bear. With him came 10,000 orcs, goblins, wargs, and beasts, unknown to even the most ancient tomes. Together they marched into the crags, hungry for ruin. But the dwarves did not tremble. Thrain Stonefire, warlord of the Stone Soul clan, last of the Ember-Kings, was old, scarred, and quiet. He wore a beard braided with molten chain and armor etched in rune prayers whispered only in the dark. When the horns of war echoed in the caverns, he rose from the hall of anvils and spoke only this: "Let them come. They will break teeth upon our gate." The first wave hit under a moonless sky. Flaming tar fell like weeping comets. The orcs brought towers of bone, siege beasts clad in rusted iron, and battering rams carved from ancient oaks, felled in blasphemy. The dwarves met them with fire, not flames of destruction, but light. Burning blue-white, their braziers sent shafts of searing purity into the night. For 3 days the gates held. For 3 nights the mountain bled ash. On the 4th, Thrain opened the gates, not to parley, but to charge. The dwarves surged forth like a river of steel. Hammers sang, shields shattered skulls. Thrain led them, a walking mountain of rage, felling 2 trolls before his hammer cracked. Then they pulled back, sealing the gates behind them. Not a word spoken, not a boast made, just the silence of war. But the darkness pressed harder. On the 6th night, the first tier was lost. The orcs had tunneled, sending waves from beneath, erupting like boils through the stone. The dwarves retreated inward, sealing hall after hall with rune-locked gates. But even stone has its limits. On the 7th day, the wind changed. It blew not from the east, but from the north, carrying with it the smell of green things and the hum of elvish song. Then, from the cliffs above the siege, came Silva. Caleneth, bow-maiden of greenwood, rode like a ghost from legend. She and her company of 200 moon riders had journeyed through shadow, following omens and stars. They were few, but their arrows flew with ancient vengeance. From the heights they loosed death. The field turned silver with fletched fury. Wargs howled, trolls screamed. The orc horde staggered under the weight of beauty made lethal. Raukshar snarled and raised his halberd. A black mist surged from its blade, and the sky darkened. Lightning struck the cliffs, trees twisted in agony. But Caleneth did not flinch. She rode down through the ashes, blade spinning, her steed armored in living bark and starlight. Wherever she rode, hope kindled. For a moment, the dwarves believed. Then came the final push. On the 9th day, Raukshar breached the Gate of Thorns, the last barrier to the forge hall, the heart of Thangrud-Bizar. Flames poured in, stone cracked, dwarves died with hammers in hand. Thrain, bloodied, beard scorched, stood before the anvil of kings, the center of the forge, the oldest stone. Around him, the last of his kin made a circle. Behind him, the ember forge still burned. Then Raukshar entered. He filled the hall like a shadow taking form. His halberd dragged across the floor, leaving a trail of sparks. Thrain raised his hammer, eye locked on the beast. "I do not kneel," he said. "You will crack," Raukshar spat, and they fought. Stone shuddered, fire dimmed. Their duel was not a battle, it was thunder in flesh. Raukshar struck like a serpent. Thrain answered like the mountain. Each blow echoed down the halls through time itself. On the 12th strike, Thrain's leg gave. He roared, but did not fall. On the 15th, Raukshar's arm was torn from his shoulder, and on the 16th, the forge collapsed. Stone fell from the ceiling as Caleneth arrived. She saw Thrain fall, saw Raukshar, wounded, staggering. With a cry and Cinderin, she loosed her last arrow, not at the beast, but at the keystone above the forge. The mountain screamed. 1,000 tons of stone crushed Raukshar, sealing him in a tomb of fire and shadow. The forge cracked, flooding molten light into the halls. Thrain's body was never found. Caleneth carried his hammer from the rubble. In the ruins above, she placed it on a blackened stone. On it, she carved in Elvish and Kuzdul. Here fell the fire that could not be quenched. Let the West remember. And the mountain was silent. Years passed. When Elendel's army came, they found no fortress, only rubble, no dwarves, no enemies, only a hammer, weathered but unbroken. They say in storm over the Ephel Duath, thunder sounds not like wrath, but like a hammer striking stone. And in the deep earth, where forges once glowed and dwarves sang in silence, the fire still sleeps, waiting